Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. I'm Dr. Willie Jolley, and this is my beautiful bride Dee. We're the authors of the book Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. Some people don't know that I got other books besides that, by the way, that I got a setback set up for a comeback, turn setbacks into greenbacks, and the attitude of excellence. It only takes a minute to change your life. And the new one, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. But I want to welcome you. We're going to talk tonight about how can our love outlast the arguments, or can your love outlast the arguments in your marriage? We are inviting people every week to send us emails, letters, whatever you want to call it.
Just to communicate with us with
an issue, a question, a concern. Well, one that we came upon this week was a couple who've been married 47 years, and they say they argue all the time. And so they wanted to know how it was that we've been married 40 years. On June 28th, we celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary. Haven't had an argument in 38 years. And so they want to know, is that possible? Is it true? It can't be possible. And it is possible. It is true. And we want to tell people how we did it and how. Well, we've told you how to do it. I think we've told you, if you've been around a while, we've told you the secret. Anybody who wants to know the secret can get the full secret, the 4 steps at jolleymarriage.com. Watch our TED Talk, how to never ever argue again in marriage. Now, I'm not going to dwell on those, but I am going to talk about this situation with this couple. Why do they continue to argue?
You know what I said to you?
Yeah, you did.
We
were discussing it earlier, and I think you might have been right.
I said some people like it. They like it.
They like to argue.
They like to argue.
Yeah. Some people like to argue, and they find comfort in that. When you said that, Dee, it reminded me of a situation when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I went to visit a young lady
of which there were many.
This was junior high school.
Oh. Well,
I was new. No, I was trying to figure my way out. So, and I sat on her porch and talked to her, and she said something that struck me as odd. She said, would you, let's see, how did she phrase it? Would you get jealous if I was with somebody else? And I said, well, we're not even, but she said, I just want to know, if we were together, would you get jealous if I was with somebody else? And I said, well, I don't know. She said, and if you got jealous, would you beat me up? Or hit me or something?
And this was in junior high school.
Junior high school. Maybe 9th grade. Mm. And I said, what? She said, yeah, because then I know you cared.
Worked.
Wow. That was her frame of reference. So somewhere in her family, that was the sign of caring, that you got jealous and were willing to fight somebody. And I went home and told my mama what she had said. Mm-hmm. And my mama immediately said, leave that girl alone. Don't you ever go over there no more. You do not need to be fooling with that girl. That's going to end poorly.
That is definitely drama.
Woo! I listened to my mama. I listened to my mama. I didn't go back over there.
But that's part of her culture.
Yeah. So when you said some people like to argue, that memory came back to my mind. And I said, maybe you're right. Some people feel it's you show you care if you're willing to argue. But that's warped, I think.
Well, I think for some, it's just the banter. This is just how they carry on a conversation to be adversarial. That's how they carry. Some observations. Right. That is how some carry on I mean, they're
What do
still
y'all think?
together
Chat it up in
all these
the
years.
chat, folks.
Closer to 50 than
Greg and Linda are home in West Virginia. Thank y'all for being with us. My friend Felicia Shakespeare, I love you. She is such a wonderful person in Chicago.
Oh,
okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Chicago style pizza.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying I think that that's the culture, and for some they like that. It's not that they don't like each other. This is just how they choose to communicate.
But there was some dialogue about it, saying we would rather not, because even if you argue, your feelings get into it.
Yes.
Your emotions get into it.
So how do we help them?
Yeah.
I think first to recognize, if you're calling it arguing, maybe they're not really. But okay, she said we've been arguing all these years, but they're still together.
But sometimes people let's look at other reasons. People stay together for lots of different reasons.
Kids are grown, grandkids.
Sometimes it's financial, and sometimes you just don't want to start over again. Just don't want to go through it again. Dating or being alone. So we'll just argue our way through. But it creates such emotional animosity or emotional luggage or emotional baggage. I'd rather use baggage. When you're arguing, when you could go along smoothly. I can tell you this. We had in our marriage those first couple of years where we argued. And some of them were really intense arguments. But we have found that it's so much smoother and nicer and calmer and pleasant when we don't argue. Now, we don't always agree, but we don't argue. We have systems. Let's see. My friend, Diamond Michael Scott, thank you, my friend. My ex was never willing to argue. Big problem in our marriage. Or discuss. I would assume she didn't want to
discuss the differences.
To communicate the differences, which was a big problem. Wow. That's a big point there.
So that's a whole nother area. So you got those that are clashing, and then those who I don't even want to have a conversation about it.
Is that called a fight or flight? Okay. I have a.
So you don't really know what they're thinking if they choose not to communicate, right? If they choose not to communicate.
If they choose not to communicate,
to share what is on their heart, from doing these shows over the years and all the different things I've read, one thing is very clear to me: the most powerful tool we have is the ability to have what I call the head-heart connection, to be able to articulate what you're feeling in a way that the other person can get to the heart, to the core of what you are feeling and what you need to express. And I think that is very hard. I think that is very hard to do, number one, because it goes back to we each have born with different temperaments. You're born with talking and thinking at the same time. I was not wired that way. I will think before I choose to share with you. And I discovered when you know yourself first, then you can be in a position to study other people who you care about. I realized that I thought so much that I did not express to you what I was feeling. So I had to work at learning to articulate. I articulate very well, but think about it. Sometimes too long. So I had to work at that. But it becomes a habit once you understand what you need to do, and then you got to practice it. The little, like James Clear of Atomic Habits talks about, I need to make a change. If I can just make a little change, right? I can just make a little change and practice that thing every day until it becomes automatic, until you don't think about it, right? So, communication. What is the stymie? What is preventing the ongoing positive communication?
Let's see. My friend says, I was a very willing listener and loved feedback. Instead, I received nothing. Not a grunt, an emoji, a shoe tossed at me. Zero, zilch. Wow.
Wow.
And that led to, he and I have talked privately over the years, that the marriage did not survive because there was not that communication. Now,
can I interject? He was a listener. That's very powerful. The ability to articulate what you are feeling and then to shut up and listen.
So you say he was?
No. I'm saying the fact that he said he was a willing listener.
Oh, I see. He was a willing listener.
But he got
nothing in exchange. No feedback.
Right.
And so that's one. Let's see. Greg said, we discuss but don't argue. We can agree to disagree on some topics, like likes or dislikes, politics occasionally, but we don't argue about it. And so I'm glad to know that others understand the process that we've established or we developed or we adhere to. That's a better way to say it, because we didn't develop it, I don't think, because there are other people who don't argue. But we have a system that we developed and are able to articulate. And that's what I think. And my friend here, he says, it elicits a lot of emotion even now. Okay. So arguing. This couple, 47 years together, and they still argue, and they want to know, how is it we don't argue? Which, again, I will encourage, if you're jumping on late, that everybody should watch our TED Talk on jolleymarriage.com, which will give you the 4F formula for how we are able to disagree without arguing.
And I will interject, sometimes the word argue is used loosely.
Yes, that's true.
It could be just intense fellowship. And this is verbally how the banter of
the verbal,
right.
What's that called?
And since we have not had ongoing conversation with them,
right,
we don't know. That could be just
you're right.
banter.
We only have one side, and we only had, again, folks, you can send your issues via email to info@williejolly.com. We will never use your name, but we will let you know you can. We will try and address it. Our friends, the Stockholm, just sent in something. I don't know if they shouted something out, but I saw that pop up. They've got a great. They were our guests on here. Casper. Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say?
What did they say?
I don't know yet. I haven't seen it pop up in the feed.
Okay. So how do we, some suggestions?
Yeah.
For them. Number one, define.
That was it. Define arguing. That was it. I say that's number one. Are we having a somewhat intense conversation, or are we actually arguing? Okay.
Because the term means different things to different people.
That's right.
If we're arguing, that means that's ugly. That means I'm like that.
What is that? Oh, that's funny. But we haven't had that kind of. You did want to hurt me. The last argument we had, I will say that. And you put your finger in my face.
I don't remember that.
I will leave you.
I don't remember that.
You know, oh yeah, you remember. Oh yeah, you do.
Oh, that was a Chinese food thing.
Yeah, that's 38 years ago.
Oh, okay. So some suggestions. Research based.
Start with defining what arguing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Define the term argue. Is it, like our pastor talks about,
intense fellowship?
Intense fellowship.
Yeah. Pastor John Kenneth Jenkins, by the way, we give him a shout out if often we can. First Baptist Church of Glenarden.
That's
one of the finest people I know, one of the finest gentlemen I know, and his beautiful wife Trina. They've been married 46 years, I think he said. No, maybe 43 years. I don't know. No, 43 years. Right.
So we need to have an agreement of what the term means, in terms of what arguing means. It might just be within their culture. This is how we choose to communicate.
Oh. I'm glad you brought that up, because there are cultures where communication sounds like arguing. Okay, there are cultures, and it's not arguing, but it sounds like arguing. The intensity of the dialogue. I've been in countries where I thought they were arguing. They said, "We're not arguing, we're just talking." But it's so intense, and it's so sounds violent, but it's not. So that was a good point. I'm glad I thought about that earlier today when we brought this up. Okay.
So there was a study, research from Resilient Relationship Study that was done with over 1,100 couples who had been, and get this, over 1,100 couples in this study, and they've been married for 50 years. Okay. And they found that long-term couples often adopt tailored methods to manage conflict. That means they develop their own systems for handling conflict. And that could be how they're listening to each other. They might avoid certain terminology.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay. So let's talk about that for a moment. And by the way, thank you, Diamond Michael. He said it seemed like the two of you argued early in your marriage, but then your partnership matured.
Yes.
And that's the gift. You're absolutely right. We did mature, and
so mature is another way for also saying that we both grew.
Yes.
And we grew together.
Yes.
And we want to say grow, so we were both learning.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So let me go with that, what you just said. What was that you just said? Last thing you said.
There were they used certain techniques or practices to handle their confrontation.
Okay. All right. So one of the things we recommend first is you define arguing. Are we arguing, or are we having an intense conversation? Or we're just having okay.
Am I mad? Are you mad at me?
Are you mad at me? Yeah. Are you angry?
I'm not mad at you.
So it might not be arguing. It might be just a way of communicating. Second is you get your system that you develop for reaching some point of agreement. And
the goal, so some time ago it was like, is the goal to have a peaceful relationship, or is the goal to win? Sometimes the goal to win and to have a meaningful relationship might not be one and the same. Because you can win the argument and kill your partner.
Woo, that's good. Oh, right? Hope y'all all got that one. You would tweet that when Dee Jolley said, you can win in the relationship and in the process kill your partner.
No, I said you can win the argument.
Win the argument.
Specifically, you can win. You know, some people have the ability to twist what you said in such a way. What's that terminology where we get in conversations and people say, well, they twisted everything, so I'm the villain.
Right.
And you can twist it so that it's like, and you win. Okay, you win. I'm wrong.
And then that person feels terrible about themselves and about the relationship. And that can become a cycle or a ongoing.
It's like that's one of those.
It's a little like gaslighting.
It's
a little like gaslighting.
I don't remember doing that. They beat you down until it's all your fault. Okay, so they won because you're like, what? Okay, so they won, but they're killing their relationship.
They're killing the relationship, and that is one of the things why we said we want you to identify what is arguing. Number two, talk about the system for how you get to an agreement, and then always be mindful that what Dee said was very powerful, that you could win the argument, but hurt your partner's self-esteem, their self-image, their self-worth. And then that's impacting the viability and longevity of a healthy relationship.
Right. So I think it becomes important to determine is winning to the destruction of the relationship important? Because for some,
is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to them. That's why they did it. But is it worth it?
Because sometimes people use the words and the like to destroy the person.
Yes.
And if the person is broken, you can't put them back together without the bumps and bruises and cracks.
What's your analogy that you use with the piece of paper?
The crumpled piece of paper.
All right, you take a piece of paper. Here. There you go. Piece of paper. Okay.
So you say all these things. You do all these things. You beat them up, and you have won the argument.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So.
And then you say, we good? And they say, yeah, we good.
Yeah, we worked it out. So then when you uncrumple the paper, uncrumple them, oh yeah, we worked it out. The wrinkles never really go away.
Hey, that's good, Dee. Was that good? Did we give her? That's why I married her, because she's smart like that. She's smart. Yeah, you still got wrinkles and bruises and
you have to work so hard, and they never
quite gets the same.
No.
Let's see what Gladys said. Gladys said, we don't argue. We get our point across and then come to an agreement. It may take a few minutes, but we always come to an amicable conclusion that works for both of us. Now, they've been married for 47 years. They're in our book, Make Love, Make Money.
And mutual respect.
Yeah, make love, make money, make it last. And Gladys was in our wedding.
Yes.
Okay, so and they have a great relationship and a loving relationship. And it's so much nicer when you don't argue. Even if you come from a culture that feels that I'm not, there's no seriousness unless we get an argument. It still raises your blood pressure. It raises your emotions. I don't like to argue. I like to negotiate.
What is that?
But I don't like to argue, particularly with my wife.
That a lot of people, particularly since COVID, there are more people who have hypertension. Some of it is environmental.
Say that louder. Yeah. So
hypertension
is up.
Is up
because of the environment, and some of it is because of the argument. Some of it because of the disagreements and not having a way to.
We have a much more combative culture after COVID than before COVID.
Oh, there's some good stuff out of here tonight, for you folks. I don't know if y'all getting it, but I'm getting it. The piece of paper crumpled, Dee saying you can win the argument and then
kill your partner.
And by that, kill them their self-esteem, their self-worth, their value to themselves, and the relationship, because it gets out of sync, out of balance. If one person's always winning and the other person feels like an ant, that's not good.
So it becomes, when you talk about systems for how do you communicate, you have to decide how you want to talk to each other. So that's, again,
and some people can feel like they've been beat down.
That's a negotiation,
and they feel beat down.
I like it when you talk to me a certain way. Now he talks loud. Now I have said to him, Willie, I think you need a hearing aid. That's what I said.
She said that to me the other night. I was on the phone in the car. She said, "Oh my God, you're so loud." Now she was out of the car. "Oh my God, you're so loud in there. Oh my God, you're so loud in there. I think you need a hearing aid." I said, "I just like talking loud."
And when he gets excited, it's louder. So I'm all, please. He's not aware that he's talking.
Sometimes you're right.
It's like
I was at the gym one day, and I was on the phone with my headphone, and the gym manager came over and said, "Please, it's not quite so loud." I must have gotten intense. I was talking.
And so some would think that you're being argumentative because you talk so loud. So I'm like, please calm down.
But I'm excited. I'm excited.
And then so I like it. And I have said very specifically, when you talk to me,
I must talk to her
softer,
very
because
soft.
that's what I like.
And she has conditioned that so that even if
when he's talking to me,
I talk soft, I talk calm, and I'm mindful of it because I know that's one of our agreements. That's one of our tenets for not arguing
I
is.
see he's getting louder now.
Well, I'm saying so they can hear me.
Oh, okay.
Because see, sometimes people will say, "I can't hear Dee."
Oh,
what did she say?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
So the tenets is that here is our agreement of below the belt stuff. One, and you'll see the TED Talk. Again, go see the TED Talk, jollymarriage.com, how to never ever argue again in marriage. One, the agreement is I never raised my voice to her, and she agreed never to threaten to leave me. And we have used that. And
pretty straightforward. That's
pretty straightforward. So what are your rules of engagement?
That's what they're called.
Rules of engagement. That's what we're talking about.
So this is how we will treat each other during conversation.
Where we don't agree.
Yes.
Where we have a disagreement. And so we are respectful. And Greg said maybe that is a part of being a professional speaker. That's right. I modulate my volume at appropriate and meaningful times for emphasis.
Greg, please don't encourage him. Please don't. You know, now when it's just the two of us here and he goes octaves up. No.
Okay, our time is almost up. The last thoughts you had on this.
Okay. Well, we didn't get to. There's research about for every negative, you need to say 5 things positive. Now, whose research is
John
that?
Gottman.
John Gottman, right. who has written, who is
Institute.
Like a master of the communication
in
relationships.
Right.
Okay.
So for every negative, you want to have 5 positives.
But I'm thinking, you got to remember all of this. So why not just work on how to be pleasant all the time? You're
not always going to be pleasant. There are times sometimes stuff get on your nerves.
But it's still how you say it.
Yes.
On your,
and it's making your rules of engagement and keeping your word.
Yes.
If you say you're not going to holler, don't holler. If you say you're not going to call somebody out their name, don't do it. Right. If you say you're never going to be disrespectful and belittle people, don't ever do it. And don't make threats. Those are all of those things.
And that comes down to that is how you build trust.
Okay, let's go for a moment back to Diamond Michael Scott, because that was such a profound piece he brought up. That part of the demise of their marriage or the destruction of the marriage was she wouldn't have any response when they would disagree. So she would shut it down. And therefore there was never any feedback. And feedback is the fuel.
The breakfast of champions.
That's right. There's feedback. So we want to have open and honest communications without being mean, nasty, and belittling or demeaning.
That is what you can work at, but you need to know what will work for the other person.
Right.
Just like me saying, please don't talk loud. I know you do that for a living, but when you talk loud, when I say loud and you're not aware, that's why you need a hearing aid. It raises the hair on the back of my neck.
Yes, that's right.
And then I want
to... You want to kill me. Okay, our time is up. A couple things we want to give. By the way, I want to let people know, those who are watching in Virginia, particularly in the Charlottesville area, I'll be speaking this Sunday, 11 o'clock, for the annual homecoming revival service at the St. John Baptist Church in Keswick, Virginia, Keswick, Virginia, at 11 a.m. So if you're in the Charlottesville area, come join me. It's going to be a rousing message.
And they always have a lot of food after 11 o'clock service.
Good food.
Lots of fried chicken, collard greens.
Homecomings, the string beans, and it's just fantastic. So St. John Baptist Church, Keswick, Virginia, this Sunday. Second, we want to hope everybody had a great 4th of July.
And safe.
And then we're praying for those families in Texas. We're praying. We encourage you to pray for them.
So are there 10 children?
There's more than that. They're still missing. And it's just a devastating thing. So thank you, Diamond, for your input tonight, by the way. He's a friend of mine for many years. We met at the National Speakers Association.
Oh.
Next, I want to encourage everybody to go to jolleymarriage.com, get 2 copies. Not one, get 2 copies of the book, one for you and one for your significant other. Read it at the same time. You can get that at jolleymarriage.com. We will sign those books and send them out to you forthwith. Do that today, or because this is a time of year when people often will have marriages and weddings. Use that as a wedding gift.
That would be a wonderful wedding gift.
Yes.
Because
a
the
unique wedding gift
is an event. The marriage should be a lifetime.
Amen. You on it tonight.
Thank you, dear.
Bang, you are on it
Thank you,
tonight.
dear.
Woo, woo, woo. 3 snaps. And then I want to encourage everybody to, if you have relationship issues, go to jolleymarriage.com/events. We did a series of sessions last year on the 5 big things that impact marriages, which were communication, finances, sex and romance, family, and blended families. And each one is an hour plus a bonus piece on the 11 biggest mistakes people make in relationships. All of that is in this package, and it's a digital package. You can download it and watch it together. That's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And
thank you for your input.
Yeah, lots of good input tonight. That makes a difference.
And I didn't finish. One of the things that Diamond mentioned is one of the things that Gottman talks about in terms of the 4 horsemen, the conflict. Don't shut down.
That's right. Look, we got to go. You
Okay.
get it. All right. Okay. See y'all. Have a great week on purpose, and may God bless you.
Safe.
Yes, safe week.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.